So welcome. My name is Lynn Principe from the Florida End of Life Doula Association. It is June 6th, 2023, and tonight's topic is what's in your doula bag. So we're going to be sharing not just what's in our bag, but maybe some little tips and wisdom surrounding what we bring to the table as doulas. Before I begin, again, I want to thank you all for your support of what we're doing here. In our next call, we're taking the month of July off because it's going to be the holiday that week. And our following call, and we'll talk more about this probably online as we complete creating this series. Our next series is all going to be about grief. So it's going to be a 4-part series. Once again, we'll have we're going to come at it from different aspects, including sudden death and suicide, working with children, how we hold space as doulas and beyond. So really excited about that. So be on the lookout for that coming up. Do you want to say anything about that, Shanti, before we jump in?
Just that we're developing it and we're really excited because most doula trainings touch on grief, but there's really not time to really delve into it deeply. So, we have a really good variety of topics that we're looking forward to putting together for you. So it'll start in August and it'll be the first Tuesday at 5:30 for 4 months. Thanks.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Question.
Yeah.
Is it possible for me to post that in the school I graduated from? And that way, not everyone is from Florida, but there are Florida doulas there that I've let know about FEOLDA. So, yeah, just brings more people into the fold to Florida to support the financial part of it too, if you're going to charge for that.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be wonderful because we do want to get our directory built, and that would be a big help to do that. And once we create the format and create the flyer per se, then feel free. Absolutely. Yeah, great. Thank you, Michelle. I wanted to start, and by no means I don't want my voice to be the only one here. So I just want to begin by how about we start by talking about our greatest asset that we bring to our clients outside of the things is ourselves, right? So how do we bring ourselves to our clients? What do we do prior to showing up, right? How do we prepare ourselves in that way? Does anyone want to share what they do, things that work for them, and how they show up with clients? Michelle?
I'll start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, to me, I think of like a good beginning, a good middle, and a good end. And in the beginning, if I'm driving and I'm in a car and I arrive that way, I think about putting everything in the back seat, my day, my worries, my issues, whatever it is, and just grounding myself first and coming to a place of presence so that when I walk in, I have a ring that I wear. And so some people I know have worn like a certain pair of shoes. And once those shoes are on and that ring is on, then I'm in my game in a sense. So just to be present really and know that when I walk through the door, I'm 100% there for that person. And then it's the same presence during the whole time I'm there. And then when I leave, it's almost like a wrap up before I just get in the car and drive away. It's a presence of what just took place. So
beautiful. And do you do anything in particular when it comes to like releasing or with that wrap up? What does that look like?
The wrap up part of it?
Yeah.
I really take it in almost like I'm holding a bubble for someone. And it's just this beautiful bubble. If you see a bubble in the sun and it looks like a prism, a rainbow. So everything they've shared is in this bubble and it doesn't pop. I can hold it and bounce it around. And it's swirling around me, but I'm not taking it in. So I hold everything in that bubble of theirs. And then I can even kind of put it into my bag, but it's not coming into me. It's there, and then I can take it out again and hold it in a sense with reverence.
Love that visual. Thank you. And I like what you said about the ring. It reminds me that I like to wear items of my ancestors when I visit, and when I do funeral services. I'm a celebrant, and I'll often wear my grandmother's necklace or my other grandmother's bracelet, just carrying those with us as we do this work. Thanks, Michelle. Who else? How do you prepare yourself?
I just love what Michelle said about, centering and grounding. I think certainly that's essential, and it's an interesting question because I think it calls forth, how are you living your life? It's not a spot job, this work, we are committed to it, we live it, we're there, and every day, but when Michelle says she shows up and she centers and all of that, that's what all of our practice and whatever it is, whether it is putting on that piece of jewelry or anchoring, to know that we want to listen with our ears open and our heart open and just be totally receptive to this individual. So I feel like I bring that initially just a level of coming in to hear where they're at, kind of getting information from them. This is a time for me to find out what it is that they know and what it is that they think they need from me. And that part of it, of just really establishing trust, that they've called me there because they think I may be able to help them with something. And then I want to be able to let them know by the time I leave that we can do this together, So it's establishing trust and having a way to be able to offer them that we're going to meet them wherever they're at spiritually, because we know that I walked into a totally hostile environment where I was glad I had done the centering and was prepared for some of the hostility that I encountered. It's not always gentle and easy, but still, nonetheless, we walk in and we spread that love and we leave that place in the best that we can. So I use those techniques as well of centering, grounding, and then imagining myself being well protected and shielded against that negativity so that I don't carry it out of there with me.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And there are a couple of things that when you were talking about before you come in, I loved how you described almost like a curiosity, right? So you enter the space with curiosity.
What do I know?
Right. Yeah.
What do I know?
What do we know? I love that.
And I think that's really it, to go in there with your mind. Well, we know a lot. We know that we've all, I say that, and I know you understand what I'm talking about, but is to be able to reassure them that we know something, but at the same time that we're brand new to them and that this is important, so.
Thank you.
And I think that what we have in our bag is different at different stages of the relationship. Because at some point you might be able to bring out more spiritual work or more legacy work or more, but all of it is under this umbrella that we're building this trust with each other that they're going to recognize that they can count on us.
Yeah. Really good point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I can share. I've been learning about the seeds that I plant, and I had a recent situation about a week ago where I went to a family where it was a couple in their 40s and here in Gainesville, so it was in person, and he's 48 and he's in end stage with cancer, so they'd called in hospice, and it was a pretty charged situation. Lovely family. And what I brought with me was this. That's all I had in my bag. And these flowers, the bulbs I planted, just from bulbs. And well, actually, there were some of these in there too, the snapdragons, which I had planted from seeds. And if you know the snapdragon seed, it's the tiniest thing you can imagine. And it was just brimming with flowers. So that's then, and just an open heart. But she did ask me, do you have any books you recommend? And I told her, yeah, this one. It's okay that you're not okay. My mentor, Megan Devine, I just did a certificate training with her. And so it was really lovely to spend an hour and a half there, and just get a picture of what's going on. And then she texted me and asked me if I knew of a male who could hold space right, at that time. And so I looked that up for her. And, I was just somebody she could count on to try to find resources. And if I couldn't find it, so be it, they could ask. Because a lot of counselors just aren't trained in this. They're trained to help you get your life together. They're trained, to help you do EMDR or whatever methods. And so it's just an interesting space where it takes a certain special person. They had asked for either a counselor or a male who could hold space. And so, but I also with them made a bit of a mistake. And what I've learned through life is that if I make a mistake, I just need to acknowledge it immediately, to where there was a sense of irritation or lack of safety, because I think I was trying a little too hard. I'd gone a few days without hearing from them, and but she told me right away that made her uncomfortable, and I just apologized. So, we're human. We're not perfect. We're going to say things or do things, but the beauty of it is that we can just acknowledge it immediately and carry on. Either she would lose faith in me or she would forgive and keep coming back. And either way, you know what? It's okay. But yeah, just getting grounded in myself enough to say, oops. Yikes. and feel in my gut that feeling that's very familiar. But I think a lot of us know we're all human and that we do care, and we're just doing good work. So that's what I wanted to share.
Well, thanks, Shanti. I was thinking something similar to what you said is what I do before I go in, and sometimes I'll just stand with my hands open and I ask that whatever is needed will come through me, because like you said, we don't know what's going to be asked of us. And I just trust that whatever is needed will come through me. And if it's not within me, that I'll be able to define what is needed. Right. And so it is that being that resource is a huge part of it. Before we move on to like what's in the bag, does anyone else want to share anything more about what they bring energetically or spiritually? We feel complete.
I'll just,
Hi, Beverly.
it muted itself again. And I love the level of this conversation already. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to leave pretty soon, actually. But I just wanted to say, close to what you just said, Lynn, I just ask to be guided and trust that that's what's going to happen. But making a specific intention request, to put it out there. So it's not going in alone.
I think that's helpful what you just said, because I think that sometimes we can get complex, right? That we don't, who am I to, to be in these spaces where maybe there's so much need. It's easy to really second guess ourselves, right? And if we show up knowing that we are guided, or that we are complete, or that what we need we'll be able to find, is really can be comforting. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. I had made this document some months ago, and it was a lot of fun to do. It's called What's in My Doula Bag, so that's kind of why we decided to have this conversation. And I'm just gonna if people are interested, I'll put a link to it so you can have it yourself if you want to print it out. But I'm gonna go through it, and then I'd love to hear from you all, like what things what you do as well. So actually, one sec. Okay. Bear with me. We just move a bunch of things out of the way. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Okay. So I can't see anyone now. So if you can't see this, would someone like unmute and let me know? We all good then?
I do see it. It's
You do?
beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm just going to go through it, especially if people are just listening and they're not seeing this visually. So my doula bag is actually a suitcase on wheels. I don't always bring all these things, right? So these are like we were saying, sometimes your visit calls for different things. So when it comes to client care, mouth care is so important. So mouth care swabs, olive oil, coconut oil, it's really helpful, especially if someone's doing VSED, just to help to keep the mouth moist. I learned recently about using a chilled baby teething ring with KY jelly. Is really helpful for VSED clients. So they have like that moist mouth feel, and the chewing is very calming. I'm a massage therapist, so I like to have massage lotion. Sometimes I'll paint people's fingernails. So I've been known to paint fingernails and toenails, and that's a great way to initiate conversations. Sometimes if people aren't ready to talk too much, they'll warm up after a while, especially if you're painting their toenails. Dry shampoo, Dr. Bronner's, I like their products for, family wants to do after death body care. Wet wipes, face wipes. These are also, if the family doesn't have them, often they'll have these things. Excuse me. Lip balm, basin for water, keeping a cool cloth for foreheads is really helpful. Disposable gloves, these are some basic things. Speaker, I love to have a speaker always, especially when we create playlists for people. Oil diffuser, if that's if scents aren't an irritant. LED candles, these are great because you can use them even in hospital rooms or with oxygen. Ritual items. I met a doula recently who she creates a mandala at the bedside of every client that she has, and I really wanted to try that practice. So beautiful. I bring anointing cards, just things that I would use for rituals, all kinds of prayer books, hymn books, mantras, meditation. I like to use the Ho'oponopono for forgiveness practices, poetry books. I like the Barbara Carnes books, especially when you want to leave them with families so they understand what's happening physically as the body nears death. And one of my favorite items is at the bottom on the left, the 3-legged folding stool. This has been the best thing ever. It's a tiny little folding stool. I can even carry it in my a bigger bag over my shoulder. And there have been so many times when either there's not a chair or there's not enough room next to the bed for a chair. I have my tiny little stool there. It's perfect. Trash bag, bath towel, scissors, contacts, vigil form that you can refer to. If you're doing a home funeral, you'd have the Technique ice, headlamp, if you don't want to do like bright lights. And then, of course, we can't forget ourselves. So what we need, just the things that you would need for your own self-care, especially if you are staying with a client. So if I'm staying with a client, I'll have my overnight bag. Yeah, and always coffee. Lots of coffee. Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing because I find it disconcerting when I'm talking and I can't see who I'm talking to. All right, so let me stop share here. Okay. If you're interested, I'll pop that in the chat if people want to print it out for themselves. Like I said, I had a lot of fun creating that. And yeah, so what are your thoughts? Any feedback or any items you have used or hadn't used from that list? I can't hear you, Nora.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Sorry, I had the wrong speaker on. I liked your poetry selection. I was volunteering at a Haven today, and that's what I was doing. I was with a NODA patient. I was reading her Mary Oliver poems, and then just riffing off of that to some imagery and some visualizations. And those are so powerful, I find.
I do too, and I love it, especially, people they still want like the sacred, right? And often there's so many people, more so now, that are not interested in any talk of religion. But so how do we bring that sacredness to the bedside without talking about God? And I think Mary Oliver, to me, is the best way. So I'd love to hear more about your visualization, Nora.
Well, since Maria Oliver's so much about nature, I would just, I imagined we were in a field, and I talked about it being a nice day today, and then I just just put us in a beautiful field, and I tried to bring in all the senses, what we were hearing, what we were seeing, what we were feeling, and then also just making the connection that we are also part of nature. And what's going on is completely natural. So it's in the moment, it comes in the moment.
That's wonderful. Mm-hmm. What other books? Lee, yes.
I love what Anna said about we have different things at different times in our bag. And so with one client, I used, it's a card game, and it's called Sweet Memories. And each, the cards are big. It's 5 by 7. You can make your own on index cards. I've done that as well. But especially for getting to know someone, it's nice to go through some of these questions if you're going to be spending time with the client. What makes you smile when you think about it? Who was your first boyfriend or girlfriend? What was your favorite book as a child? Very non-threatening questions. And it did help me learn more about clients in a kind of in a very interesting way. And these are published by a company called All Together Now USA Limited. So, and at other times, it depends very much on the client trying to, gear the time make the time meaningful by, personalizing what we bring. I love your idea of doing nail polish, because I've done that, and it made the family feel very good, because their mother was looking rather, I don't know, frumpy. They do have beauty salons in some of the centers and things like that, but she was just, I don't know, a little bit ragged. So that jazzed her up. And then with another client who was pretty much nonverbal, it was difficult to converse, but I did hear that, I don't know, it was just in some passing remark that she had been in her high school choir. So I did some calculations and found out, or looked up what songs were popular when she would have been in high school. And I brought songbooks. And this is a woman who maybe could say hello or not. And she sang every word of those songs.
Oh my.
Yeah, there's a film called Alive Inside, about a man who has done research with Alzheimer's patients and observing them, what happens. And you get people who are just totally non-responsive, and they do come alive. So sometimes there's a songbook in my bag, and sometimes there are those question cards, and certainly the nail polish. So thanks.
I love that. I think especially when someone is nonverbal, or if you're volunteering, sometimes when I'm volunteering and I'm with someone who I've never met and they're not verbal, you start to just look for clues, or, right, like you said, like figure out what year that might have been, and then start from there and just notice body language and yeah, just those little things. It's wonderful. I had a client, well, I was volunteering. I'd never met her before, and she was really suffering. And it was probably her last hours. And she had no family there. And I was trying to play calming music and holding her hand, and she was really struggling with anxiety. And her daughter finally came in, and I asked her, is there any song or any music that your mother loved? And she said, we had our song. It was a Dionne Warwick song. And I found it and I played it, and she sang it to her mother. And then her mother died. So just so powerful. Lee, there was a question in the chat. So it was called, I wrote down the name of the book, Sweet Memories cards. Yeah. I want to look at those too. I love that idea, especially like you said, they're non-threatening questions, right? It's easy to come on too strong. Right. Thank you, Lee. So anyone we haven't heard from so far, I'd love to hear what you love and what you do, things that help you when you're meeting clients.
Well, I can just share some other card things. This is Trent. It's called, I think, Vertellus, I guess. But anyway, yeah, it's a set of cards that has nothing really specifically to do with death, but it's also just a way to get to know family and friends better. Like my great grandson and I were in the car on the way down to go to a cruise, and so he went through every single one of them. He's 14. He went through every single one and shared with me stuff about his life that I didn't know, or his feelings. And then the other one is Go Wish, and that's by the Coda Alliance. And they have they have ones for adults, but they also have I just bought 4 sets of the pediatric Go Wish. So that's for families that have a child who's in the process of dying. And so it has a lot of, it has cards. You can just set the cards out, but if it's one that you don't want to look at, you just pass and you just go to another one. So you don't have to make it really confrontive. But my fear of talking about death, to manage appetite changes and nutrition plans for my child, to honor the child's wishes, all that kind of stuff. So sometimes those are good conversation starters when you're just, yeah. So I guess there's quite a few of those options.
Love that. I'm just putting in the chat the what's in my doula bag on PDF. Oops, I always forget that I can't push enter. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Got it. Okay. I'd love to hear from you, Lisa. I know that I don't want to put you on the spot, but it sounds like you've had a lot of bedside experience as a
Yes,
nurse.
several years of patient care, medical, surgical, psychiatric. Most recently, actually for the last 20 years, it's been in clinical research.
Mm.
And it really took me away from the compassionate part of me. And I've just been called, I don't know, since 2015. I know that this is my work, and it's just taken me a while to get there for various reasons. But I really like what you had to say about, how do you, first go in and approach your clients, and it's so important. I think for me would be just to really have a quiet mind and an open heart. And I like the trust,
Yeah.
because so much about this experience for me is trust. It's very spiritual for me, knowing that I'm here to be a vessel, and what comes through me is what I trust. And I liked what Shanti talked about, mistakes, which it's a misstep, I guess. And there's always opportunity to work through that. And I know for me personally, I have a little bit of a perfectionistic way about me that I have learned about. And so just taking that in itself and knowing that there is no perfection and that's perfect. So I think that's important for me personally as I go through this endeavor, just to have a lot of trust and not make it. So it's not about all it's really who you are and what you bring.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah, so I'm in the right place and I know it, and I just want to say thank you to all of you. Yeah, I have done a doula class with Nelda in 2016. Didn't really do anything with that. So I'm going to UVM in August.
Wonderful.
So by October, I'll be.
Yeah. We have
Yeah.
quite a few UVM grads in our FEOLDA group.
Yes.
So yeah, I hear good things about it. Wonderful.
Yeah, and I love what all you shared about what's in your doula bag. Kind of reminded me a little bit when I did home health care as a nurse. And it was like, oh, we'll have fun things in the bag now. We won't necessarily have IV equipment,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So very
Yeah.
nice. Thank you for inviting me to speak.
Yeah. I hope you didn't mind me calling on you.
Nope.
Sometimes we do miss the mark, and that's okay. It comes from a good place. I had a client who I knew he had some really heavy stuff that he was taking with him. And I was hoping to give him invitation to let some of it off his shoulders before he died. And he wanted no part of that. And he told me so. He said, "What, do you think you're some kind of goddess?" And I just laughed I mean, I, I didn't, what else are you gonna do? So, and it wasn't, and that's what I wanted for him, right? So that's where I had to really check myself. I wanted him to leave having taken that off his shoulders, but it's not mine to carry. So it really, everyone teaches us something, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. If when we think we've got our ego checked or whatever it is, we're going to keep learning.
Yeah, that's like how someone spoke about earlier is you just go into it really not knowing, not having an agenda.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So they lead the way. And as we get to know them, then what we bring with us, physically and energetically, will it changes, right? As we do get to know them. And as they near death, what we bring changes. Less
Well,
nail
yeah.
polish.
And there's so many aspects to doula work. When you look at the training, I mean, there's just so many aspects. And, we each end up with our kind of little specialty or niche, but we also have to be ready to serve in whatever way we can. Or the beauty of it is we can refer, like Lee and I live near each other, and she loves to do bedside vigil, and I'm strong on grief. And so, we've kind of paired up on a few things. Nothing's quite come through yet, but just being able to hand that part over or share, come together with it. But also Lynn and I had a client that we were working with, and just even long distance, because I was working with him on Zoom. And honestly, we got to see these incredible grief emotions, the anger and rage and stuff, and just to be able to see it for what it is and know that that's grief. That's not like someone attacking me. That's just grief and how it's showing up right now. When someone's just about jumping out of their skin, and but you're there, and so you might be a target, but we have to. So, and then the other part of it, of course, is just self-care, and I'm working on that a lot right now. It's like, do I do for self-care really? Yeah, so that's always a good topic to intertwine in these things.
Yeah. I think one of our greatest tools for self-care are boundaries. Right. So I like, Michelle, how you described the bubble. Right. So I think that's our greatest self-care. It's not the bubble bath or right. Everyone says, oh, self-care, and you think like, oh, you're getting a foot massage, but real self-care is knowing when to say no and knowing where they stop and you start, and all of that, right? And what you're taking home, and are you trying to fix when it's not your job to fix. Right? I feel like that's real self-care. And that's the hardest stuff, I think. Right? Because you don't go into this work unless you are a caretaker, caregiver. I'm trying to shift my languaging from caretaker to caregiver. I know it's like a slight shift there in the wording, but feels different, right? Yeah. Boundaries.
Lynn, I have a question. To logistical thing with the thing that you posted for the PDF. I tried to just highlight it and copy it. Usually right click and get copy, and I can't copy it at all.
Oh,
I
it
can't
doesn't. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, let me see. Okay.
I used to
Anyone else?
get
Yep.
yeah, if anyone else is doing it, I'm doing it wrong, because I'm just highlighting it and then right clicking, and I'm only seeing a place where I can reply or add a reaction.
Oh, I
There's
see.
no place to copy anything.
I
Okay.
seemed able to copy, but I have to see if it actually works. But we can
Okay.
get that to you after.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So
I'll put my email if that's easier for you, or
Shanti, would we send it to everyone on the call?
Sure, we can do that if they'd like. Yeah.
Yeah,
thank
please.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, the other thing is adding the place where I am. I'm actually in Tampa, but I tried doing that and it wouldn't let me either. I don't know if that's changed, but it said upgrade. to
Oh.
Pro, and you shouldn't have to upgrade just to add that, but it wouldn't
No.
let me do it. So I hit upgrade.
Yeah, sometimes there are gremlins in the
Yeah. Gremlins are here tonight.
They are sometimes here. So Michelle, I'm not far from you. I'd love to connect.
Yeah, I'm actually moving to Jensen Beach August 1st, but I'm in Carrollwood, Lake Magdalene area of Tampa now.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I would love that. I love Dunedin.
Yeah, love coffee.
You're
That'd be nice.
you're moving where, Michelle?
Jensen Beach,
Oh,
over near
okay.
the East Coast.
Okay.
So any more shares regarding what we bring or don't bring? What's helpful? Besides Mary Oliver, there are other poetry books or meditations that you love to share with your clients? I'm always looking for good books to have in my bag.
Well, I do love Megan Devine. She has a nice little video on YouTube called How Do You Help a Grieving Friend? It's a cartoon video that's very well done and can just be emailed and forwarded to their friends. It's really beautiful because it talks about, how to just be with someone and that it doesn't help to try to reassure them or take away their pain, just to be with them and in the feelings that they're having. So I love Megan Devine. She's got a lot of good quotes. So, but I just ordered 25 of her books yesterday. So everyone who's taking my class is now going to get a copy. So yeah, highly recommended. The book is called It's Okay That You're Not Okay. She also has a journal that if people really want to work it, the journal's really good too.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Keely?
Hi there.
Hi.
I wanted to just share a little bit. Thank you so much, everybody, for sharing. I really appreciate everybody's little tidbits. In regards to what's in my doula bag, I would say it's the presence and the listening ear, right? An open heart. And in physical sense, what I bring is I like to say it's a compassionate witnessing presence, right? That allows for all things. And I am a yoga nidra facilitator, so I bring my yoga nidra cards to lead them in a meditation. And oils and blessing cards like yourself, Lynn, for the ritual, blessing the body. And I've also read Steiner prayers. I don't know if you're familiar with those.
With Rudolf Steiner?
Say again?
Rudolf Steiner?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've used those.
Huh. I hadn't thought to use that. It's interesting.
It's there is one. It is verses for the living and the dead from Truth Wrought Words with Other Verses by Rudolf Steiner. That's verses for the dead. And it's actually also for the living, right? After.
Thank you, Keely.
Yeah, my pleasure. That's my little bit. And I've moved now. I'm now beachside. Looking at the ocean. Looking at the ocean.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for everyone that shared. We always love to hear what you want to talk about. So after this next series on grief, we have a list of things that we could bring to the table, but we'd love to hear from you all. And if there's something that you want to lead, we want to hear about that too. Yeah. Shanti, do you have anything before we close?
Yeah, I mean, we always want to encourage people to reach out to the people in their area. As the kind of membership chair, committee chair, I try to keep track of like where people are and let you know who's in your area. And so that's important. August is Grief Awareness Month. And so I'll be doing some things in Gainesville, and we may, gather some ideas of what people can do in their communities. I have the City of Gainesville wellness coordinator interested in letting me present to all the city employees at a lunch hour, just for a few minutes, but just to drop, some things. Another one is the Phone of the Wind, to try to put a Phone of the Wind in your neighborhood somewhere where people can, pick it up, and it's very powerful. I have a nice little news piece on that. So anyway, just anything we can do to put it out there little by little. The more we're normalizing the conversation, people are going to be grateful and interested, and it's just real exciting to be in this place at this time with this group of people.
It's such an honor. I'll be doing a grief one day grief workshop in outside of Orlando in August, the end of August. It'll be called Transforming Loss. So I'll share more about that as we get closer. But thank you, wonderful people, for sharing all your wisdom and your time, really. I know how busy we all are, so we always appreciate it when you lend your voice and energy. So we'll see you in the interwebs. If not, we'll see you online. Hopefully we'll get together more in person as we connect more with each other. So.
Thanks so much, Lynn, for your leadership in our education department.
Oh, my pleasure.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Thanks, everyone.
We'll stop recording.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
You ladies do a great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Nora.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.